Let me tell you this: failure can hurt you, but success is what will actually kill you if your foundation isn't set. Because adversity drives you to your nail, but luxury convinces you that you don't need to pay anymore. Can I ask you a serious question? What if the biggest thing standing between where you are and where God wants you to be isn't a lack of prayer? What if it's a lack of understanding about how His kingdom watches your behavior during your high visibility wins and heavy industry criticism? My name is Yemi Ayetigbo. Welcome to Dominion Influence Series. In a few minutes, I will make you see clearly, think clearly, and lead clearly. If you are tracking with us chronologically, you've seen and you will have seen already that your character is very, very important in creating influence. We have navigated how character can shape what you become. We have also navigated the waiting room. We have also optimized our current stewardship. Today, we are talking about two great equalizers of leadership. We are discussing the success test and the opposition test. Let's address a massive paradox. The success test, most leaders spend 90% of their energy learning how to overcome failure, completely unaware that success is infinitely more hazardous to your spiritual health than failure will ever be. When you fail, your vulnerability forces you into total dependence on God. You begin to ask God, why did I fail? What do I need to do better? How do I clear this mess? Right? At that point, you know that if he doesn't step in, you are sunk, or you are going to be dealt with. You are a mincemeat. But prosperity is an intoxicating drug. It breeds an illusion of self-sufficiency. It whispers that your net worth reflects your spiritual weight, and it quietly coerces you away from secret place of prayer. Do you know that success can make you very, very unavailable and busy to actually take on any spiritual activity? Progressive success, if not well managed, can alienate you from your spiritual connection. That is why you see some successful people seeking for spiritual contractors, those who will help them pray, those who will fast on their behalf, those who will do spiritual exercise on their behalf, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Your spiritual connection is as important as your life. So, failure at times is easier to manage than success, because in failure you depend on God. You know that it's only God that can help. But in success, it is very easy to forget God, right? Let's look at Solomon. Solomon began his executive career with unparalleled humility. In fact, when God was asking him to make his whatever he wants from God, God asked him, just ask for anything you want me to do. And the man asked for wisdom, knowledge, understanding, right? No. And he was asking it to be able to govern his people, right? And God answered. Why? Because He asked from a pure heart, and God answered, right? Because God wants you to be genuine, right? And God did not only answer, God gave him weight and global influence onto every sphere of his life. Everywhere in the world, he had global influence and he had weight. But what happened? At the absolute height of his unprecedented success, Solomon allowed his heart to drift. He built altars to foreign gods, compromised his covenants, and ended his life with divided loyalties. That is what success can do to a man that is not disciplined, a man that is not humble. He had a divided loyalty. His greatest battle wasn't fighting poverty, his greatest battle was surviving his own prosperity. Solomon never had a problem with money or poverty. No. The problem Solomon had was surviving the prosperity that God gave to him. So here is your leadership principle, and I want you to take it very seriously. Never allow your success to replace your radical dependence on God. I repeat, never allow your success to replace your radical dependence on God. Very important. No matter how high you go, always know that it is God that has given you the power to make that wealth. Very important. Let your dependency be on God, undivided. Very important. But let's look at the flip side of the coin. If the success doesn't corrupt you, the weight of your assignment will eventually trigger the opposition test. Let's even say the success doesn't corrupt you. Let's say you are able to manage the success and you are able to ascribe the glory back to God, and you understand that the success you have, the blessing, the money you have is for you to be a channel of blessing to others. Let's say you've mastered that. What about the opposition test? The moment you start making a real impact in your industry, building an ethical business, or standing up for kingdom principles in the corporate arena, you will attract resistance. You cannot avoid it. You will face unfair criticism, malicious gossip, political backstabbing, or outright betrayal. Once you stand out for God, once you are doing the right thing, once you understand the stewardship of influence, power, and money, and you are able to do all this, you will still have that challenge, the opposition challenge, right? So the question is never whether opposition will manifest. The question is, will that opposition define you or will it refine you? So the question is, will this opposition make you to lose who you are, or will it refine you? Will it make you better? Right? Think about Nehemiah. He was executing a massive urban construction project to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, like we know. Instantly, Sanballat and Tobiah showed up, mocking his vision, spreading false reports, and trying to intimidate him into stopping the work. Nehemiah didn't stop. He didn't dance tools. He fought the critics. But he didn't fight them by leaving what he's doing. No. He stayed on the wall and declared, I'm doing a great work and I cannot come down. You know, Sambalat and Tubala, they say come to the village of Ono or something. He said, I'm not going to come. I'm busy. So, do you get distracted by oppositions? Are you the one that always solely thinking about what the way people say? Some of us, why you have not done what you are supposed to do is because you are still thinking about what will people say. And if you are that person, you may never do anything. You need to get yourself up and go and do what you need to do. Because whether you do or you don't do, what people will still say what they have to say. So Nehemiah said, I'm doing a great work. So the question is, what work are you doing? Do you see it as a great work? I'm doing a great work. I'm not going to be able to come. It's as simple as that, right? Look at Daniel. Daniel kept praying despite a royal decree designed to execute him. Paul kept preaching despite shipwreck, stoning, and imprisonment. Jesus kept loving despite being rejected by the very people he came to save. Every single meaningful assignment from God carries a tax called resistance. If your assignment is not being resisted, you need to check again. Maybe it's not from God, or maybe you have not fully caught the full glimpse of that assignment. Right? So you need to know that. Let's look at the science of endurance. Let's look at the betrayal data in our research corner. Right? Organizations psychology studies on resilient leadership indicates that leaders who maintain a deep intrinsic sense of core purpose are up to 70% more likely to persevere through harsh criticism, market uncertainty, and severe professional setback. Purpose provides the psychological and physiological endurance necessary to survive toxic environment. If you know you are going to face opposition, you just prepare yourself for it. Just get yourself for it. Because it's going to happen. It is going to happen. Except you are not doing anything great. And if your vision is not bigger than you, if your dream is not bigger than you need to go and dream again. Right? And once a dream is bigger than you, opposition will come. It's very important for you to know that. So, but as kingdom leaders, we have an even deeper anchor. Our endurance isn't built on raw willpower. It is rooted in the hope anchored directly to the unshakable faithfulness of God, rather than shifting market trends. Romans 5:3-5 says, rejoice in suffering, because suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. So opposition is just data telling you that you are making a dent in the dark. It's just an assurance that you are doing something right. Nobody oppose a failure. You're already a failure, so nobody will oppose you. So when opposition comes, it's an indication that you are doing something right. And you need to look at it. The technical evaluation, let's run your diagnostic calibration for module 4 today. Let's just look at um, where you are when it comes to the ability to be able to face opposition, right? Now, success security, you need to look at it from scale of 1 to 10. As your income, status, and recognition grow, right? Are you able to match yourself with the level of opposition that comes, right? As your influence, your income, your power, as they grow, are you able to match your success with the level of opposition? Or as your spiritual hunger deteriorates, as your bank account expand? So you need to check as your life with God, with Christ, your work with Christ reduce as a result of your business achievement, as your or weight increase, right? That's one. Opposition and endurance. When critics attack your character, client cancel contracts unfairly, or co-workers slander your name, do you emotionally fall apart and try to defend yourself in the flesh? Or do you anchor your peace in God's sovereignty and keep executing your assignment? You need to look at that. Because in the marketplace is a volatile place. It's a battleground. So when people slander you, backbite about you, when they lobby to cancel your contract and all that, Do you take it physically with them, or you go back to your nails and fight it in the spirit realm, right? I'd like you to write down your score. If you are scoring low on opposition endurance, it's time to build a thicker spine and a deeper prayer life. Whatever you don't want to see in your business, you don't address it physically. You address it spiritually first before you begin to take step in the physical realm, because it is from the spiritual realm that you are going to get the direction you need to take in the physical realm. So if something is not right, if you're having problem with opposition and you're having problem with success security, you need to deal with it on your news before you take action in the physical. Now that we have survived the height of success and the fires of opposition, we're ready to step into the final two gauntlets, right? The legacy test and the readiness matrix. We're going to look at how to build an empire that outlasts your lifespan, and how to verify that you are fully certified for the next level, right? So we're going to look into what you need to do to build a legacy, and also to ensure that the legacy you are building, even after you have passed, is still going to continue, right? That's what we're going to look at in the next episode. I am Yemi Ayetigbo. Survive your wins. Stay on the wall through the criticism. And I will see you in the next module. Bye for now.